I'm guessing that most of us, or if not all of us, are over the age of 18, have our driver's license, and have a computer with internet access. Well, if that is, then you are all capable of giving the greatest gift to somebody. You're capable of giving the gift of life. By this I mean you can become an organ donor. As of April 20th, 2009, there are 101,685 people waiting on a list to become, or waiting for an organ transplant. One of these patients, well, I got that from organdonor.gov. One of these patients is Robbie. They didn't give her last name, but she has cystic fibrosis, which means that she needs a lung transplant. She only has 26% lung capacity, which means if a normal person shut down 3/4 of their lungs, that's how little we would be able to, or that's how little our air supply would be. Robbie says that it's hard to imagine a greater gift than the gift of life from an organ donor. Like Robbie, there are tens of thousands of other people waiting with life-threatening conditions, waiting and hoping that they'll be able to get this gift. Today I'll be talking about becoming an organ donor. I've been researching this topic and have become deeply inspired that maybe one day I will too be able to become an organ donor. First, I'll talk a little bit about organ donation. Then I will point out a few things of why people don't really want to become an organ donator, and why you yourself should become an organ donator, and how you can. First, I'll talk about organ donating. The first successful transplant was made in 1954. It was a kidney transplant, and it was a living donation, meaning the person was alive. About 6,000 living donations are made per year, but that's only 1/16 of the amount of people who are waiting. There are 4 different types of donations. The first is organ and tissue donations from a living donor, donation after brain death, donation after cardiac death, and whole body donation. The most frequent for living donors is a kidney transplant. Then living donors can also donate a part of their liver, a part of a lung, pancreas, and intestine. And what's surprising to me that a living person can also even donate a heart, but as long as they have a backup heart. Most of the donations come from people who have suffered brain death. And for whole body donations, they have to have contacted a medical school or a willed body program in order for them to actually donate their body for that cause. Now that you know a little bit about organ donating, I will talk about why many people don't want to become an organ donor. Being an organ donor is the greatest gift you can give to anyone, and yet many people are scared or unsure about giving their organs to a stranger. I think the most common thing that I've heard about organ donating and why people don't really want to become it is because they hear this myth that if they become an organ donor, then doctors, if they come into an emergency room, they won't work as hard to save their life. But in reality, when you go into an emergency room, they're not focused on if you're an organ donor. They're focusing on saving your life, not somebody else's. My cousin actually it's my mom's cousin. She worked in the emergency room for 25 years, and I asked her if that ever went through their mind. And she said no, when a person came in, we never thought once about finding out if they were an organ donor. We've been trained to save the life, and that's what we do. I got the information from MayoClinic.com. The second reason is because of religion. But I was researching, and I only found one religion that was against it, and that was the Shinto religion. They feel that your body, when you die, is uncleansed, and it shouldn't be given to someone else. Most of them believe it's a neighborly act of love, and others feel that it's up to the individual. And then the third reason is that people don't know enough about it. Dr. Nicholas Jaguar, the Associate Director of Liver Transplant Surgery at the University of Southern California, said if you never talk about it, they won't consider it. And the worst time to approach a family is after a disaster has already happened. So I think that's true, because, I mean, if you don't know anything about something, how can you be passionate about it? So I think that we all need to learn more about organ transplants. And lastly, now that I've cleared up some of the misconceptions about it, I will give you the reasons why you should become a donator and how you can. As I said earlier, there are over hundreds of thousands of people waiting to become an organ, waiting for an organ transplant. As of January 2009, there have been only 2,357 transplants made. I got this information from United Network for Organ Sharing. Over 3,000 people die a year waiting for organ transplants. But I think that if there's more donors, then the less lives there are that are cut short. Each of these people that died had somebody out there that was a matching donor, but they weren't known of because they weren't an organ donor, or they didn't know about it, or they just didn't want to become it. And the second reason is after you die, there's no reason for you to keep all your organs in there. There's no function for them. So why not be able to give that to somebody and give the greatest gift and give hope and restore just happiness for them. You'll not only be a hero to that person, but you'd be a hero to their whole family and many others, because you won't be saving just one life, you could be saving many lives with all the organs that they can distribute. So you can become an organ donor by going to the Donate Life California website, and all you have to do is answer some questions, and then you'll be good to go. Today I've discussed a little bit about organ donations, the reasons why you should consider being an organ donor, and and how you can become an organ donor. I hope that I have been able to give you a new outlook about the subject, and that I will leave you thinking about how many lives you yourself could be saving by giving a heart, a lung, a kidney, just to somebody who really needs it. Like Robbie at the beginning of my speech, there are thousands waiting just like her, hoping that they'll be able to get that gift of life. So I encourage you to become an organ donor and become someone's hero, and just think about it. Wouldn't you want somebody to do that for you? Thank you.